Hello folks, you're on the Desert Adventures YouTube channel, sponsored by Apogee Performance Racing, the makers of the best chain lube on the market. So the XR600 started making a hell of a noise coming from the top end. Sounded like it dropped a valve the other day, and then it quit running. So it was time to open up the engine and find out what in the hell was going on. Upon inspection, I noticed inside the carb here that the choke plate had come apart, which makes me feel extremely uneasy.
Breathe in.
And the camshaft looked okay, and all the valves were where they were supposed to be. And the rocker faces looked okay. Usually those get worn out pretty bad if the engine's been abused. But there's that piece of choke plate sitting on top of the piston. So it screwed up the valves as well on the head. So it's time for a full valve job and piston replacement. There's that choke plate after I pulled it out of the carb and pulled the chunks out of the cylinder. Those are the two chunks that decided to get eaten. And there's what the choke plate's supposed to look like. So I ended up making my own choke plate out of steel. Got a new Pro X cast piston there. Looking all good. Stock 9-to-1 compression. Should last for a long, long time in this engine. Fresh hone job. New piston. And some new kibble white valves installed in the head. And we are ready to rock and roll and get back out on the trail. So we put a couple heat cycles on the engine in the shop, and it was time to go out for a break-in ride. We'll see how she runs. So the first thing I noticed is the bike is actually running noticeably better, which is kind of surprising because the engine didn't blow up from wear before. It blew up from an ingested piece of metal. So I didn't expect it to gain performance much really, but it actually is running noticeably better. It's got a lot more pep in its step, almost like I put slightly higher compression piston in, but in all actuality it's just from fresh piston, ring, and cylinder seal and freshly lapped valves. It's just got everything sealing up the way it should. She's running the way it should be running. So got a fresh top end. She's feeling good. So if you have a XR400, XR600, or an XR650R, those are three bikes I know that share a carburetor with my XR600 here. Go check your carburetor choke plates. Actually, just replace them with a billet one. I know that XR's only makes a billet choke plate for these carbs. You can also just make one out of a piece of steel like I did. It's not that complicated. Just shape it up with a Dremel or a belt sander. Drill a couple holes in it so it fits in the carb, and there you go. You use some Loctite on the screws. But check your carb choke plates. If you got a multiple piece choke plate, get rid of it. Replace it with a single piece, because you don't want to end up having to rebuild your engine prematurely. But if you do end up having to rebuild your top end on one of these XRs, Pro X pistons work great, and the kibble white valves seem to be quite the proven ticket. Black diamond stainless steel valves just can deal with a lot higher temperatures in stock, and they also last a lot longer. So I'm all about it, because it sure feels great to be back on the bike. And speaking of getting out on the bikes, I am always looking for a riding buddy. Or riding buddies. So if you are in northern Arizona, or if you ever want to travel through northern Arizona, hit me up, and maybe we can schedule a ride. Go out and have a good time to go out for a desert rip sometime. It's always nice to ride with new people or meet new friends. So yeah. Thanks for watching the video today. I'm going to leave the last few minutes of this ride footage just as raw ride footage to enjoy some scenic riding. And we'll see you next time on the Desert Adventures YouTube channel.